Research questions are generally an integral and one of the most important components of the process of research. Generally, a research project or research process begins with bigger questions, and so those bigger questions are considered as research questions. Research questions could be good research questions that give clear direction to the research process, but there could also be bad research questions which actually lack focus or direction in terms of the research context. So, what are the characteristics of good versus bad research questions? This is the question that we will briefly respond to. So, good research questions have characteristics such as relevance. The first characteristic of a good research question is relevance. And relevance here means that the research questions are actually relevant to the research topic, or in other words, the research questions are actually representing the research topic. The bad research questions, on the other hand, are research questions that are irrelevant. So, in many cases, these type of research questions do not truly represent the research topic or the research issue or the research problem. The second characteristic of good research question is that good research questions are focused, and so they are not very broad or not very narrow as well. So they are focused on actually finding on actually asking questions related to the specific field or the specific area which is the focus of the study. On the other hand, research questions that do not clearly focus on or center on the research topic are termed as unfocused questions. Then the research questions, the good research questions, are clear and concise. Their presentation is clear and concise, while bad research questions are generally unclear and ambiguous, either in terms of the content or the language in which they are presented. Then good research questions are significant. So, in other words, good research questions aim at exploring areas that are significant, and it is important that such research questions need to be explored in order to aid substantially to the field in which those research questions are actually asked. On the other hand, bad research questions are research questions that are trivial, that are not very useful, that the finding answers to those are not very useful and not very significant, and so such research, finding answers to such research questions will not add any significant value in terms of knowledge or filling knowledge gap in the particular area. Then the other important thing is that good research questions are doable and practicable. In other words, good research questions will lead to research that is practically possible in terms of resources and time management and so on, other aspects of the research process. While bad research questions are questions that are generally difficult to find answers to in terms of, for example, developing the research design and implementation of the research design. So generally, bad research questions are questions that are based on issues that are undoable or too ambitious as projects. And lastly, generally, good research questions are questions that will be ethical, and so while trying to find answers to those questions, the ethical values will not be trampled on. And on the other hand, bad research questions will be based on research projects where there are possibilities that ethical values, research ethics might be trampled on, or research ethics might not be truly followed. So these are some of the examples of good and bad research questions, some of the characteristics of good and bad research questions. There are certain examples and elaboration of good and bad research questions, and so for further elaboration of the concepts of research questions, I have given certain links to some of my previous lectures on the kinds and structure of research questions and the various types of research questions. So what are the various types of research questions and how can those research questions be answered, and what are examples of certain research questions. So for that you can actually explore further on these links. Thanks.